I'm Dave Barnett and I'm the translator and Bible engagement coordinator for the RIMS team, which is Remote and Indigenous Ministry Support. The goal of Bible translation is to have the target language understand the meaning of the text that the original audience understood. So the first step in this process is to work with Indigenous people to produce an English front translation. And this translation acts as a bridge between the original Hebrew and Greek and the target language. Once this initial step is complete, the local translators will work on a first draft, and they are working from the English and producing a draft that is both natural and accurate in their language. This can take as long as 1 day or 3 or 4 days per chapter, so often poetry takes a long time to produce in the local language, but narrative and other genres can be quite easy. And so translators will work independently, or they might work in pairs to do an initial draft of the scriptures. After the initial draft is complete, another translator will then look at the first draft and then compile a second draft. And this draft makes the initial draft sound more natural in the target language. Often a text might go through 2, 3, even 4 drafts before the translators are happy that it sounds natural. And the reason we do this is so that other translators can look at the text, give input, and so that the final product is actually the work of 2 or 3 translators and not just one person's views. Once the translation has been through 2 or 3 drafts, the original translator will go through the material again and just make sure it sounds natural and they're happy with it. And once they're happy with it, we'll get the whole group of translators together and we'll do a group check on the draft to make sure it sounds natural in Pidgin and so that people who haven't worked on the text are familiar with it and that it is accurate according to the Hebrew as well. When all the translators are happy with the final draft, then someone else who's not involved in the translation process will look through the draft and actually back translate it into English. And this draft is a very literal English translation, so that a Hebrew or Greek consultant can come along and check against the English and make sure that everything that's in the original text is actually represented in the target language. So once the target language final draft has been back translated, then the Hebrew or Greek consultant will read through it and ask a number of exegetical questions just to make sure the text is accurate and that nothing significant is either missing or in the text that shouldn't be there. And once they've done that, we do the final step, which is the community check. And in this step, the translation consultant will ask different members of the community, how are you hearing this text? What's happening in the text? Who's doing what to whom? And this stage really makes sure that the final draft is actually accurate and that people that haven't been working on the text at all are actually hearing what's in the original scriptures. After the translation consultant has checked through the material and is happy, then we edit and prepare the final completed draft for publication. So we insert illustrations, we put in subheadings, we add footnotes, and any other material that's going to help the readers of the new scriptures understand what's going on. So after all this work, after all the trips that people have done to communities, all the consultant checks, all the community checks, we can finally publish the scriptures so that people, after all these many years, can have God's word in their language. And once we've published the scriptures, we have a dedication ceremony, and it's really a way of just honouring God and giving thanks to Him for all the work He has done over many long years. So thank you so much to all the people that support the work of Bible translation. This is the valuable fruit of many, many years of work, and it's just amazing to see people understand God's word in their heart language for the first time. And there's no way that this work could happen without your generous giving, your prayers, and the many ways you support this incredible work, and the ways you encourage our First Nations peoples.